I do want to pivot now to David Closson. I want us to end with our weekly Biblical Worldview discussion on some of the major issues taking place in our country. And of course, David Closson is the director of our Center for Biblical Worldview here at FRC. His brand new book, Life After Roe, Equipping Christians in the Fight for Life Today. David, thank you for joining us. We appreciate, as always, you being a part of our Friday edition. Bring us a biblical perspective of the news.
Great to be with you, Jody. Thank you.
All right, real quick, I've got a couple things I want to end with your book, how people can get it. But I shared this a little while ago, some recent findings from a report published by the network Contagion, their research institute. But they said that those who self-identify as left of center, they are over 55% willing to say that assassinating President Trump or Elon Musk could be justified. Now, I know you've had a chance to look at this report, but what do we do with this?
Yeah, Jody, that's concerning. 55%, according to this report, of those who are left of center think that they could find a way to justify assassinating the sitting president of the United States, and 48% said the same way about Elon Musk. You dig into the weeds on the survey, and it's actually about 38% of respondents overall said yes, that they think it would be somewhat justifiable to murder the president. Now, again, that's astounding, Jody, and I think my simple response to this is, as Christians, we recognize we live in extremely polarizing times. We recognize that we're divided politically. As Christians, we reject violence, though. We recognize that all people are made in God's image. We recognize that even those we disagree with politically have value and dignity. And we also recognize that Romans 13 says government is ordained by God for our good. So even if you disagree on a policy issue with someone in office, we still respect them. We still ought to pray for them. And so this shows we're in kind of dangerous times. But as Christians, we need to be really clear.
Absolutely. Switching gears real quickly with you, we had, I'm sure you followed this, a recent story involving pool, not a swimming pool, but the game, as in billiards. Just a couple of days ago, Harriet Haynes won the tournament there in England. But it was a women's event, despite him being a man. And in fact, the other person he was playing was also a man. So you had two men playing in the finals of a women's tournament. Wow. As we're watching this whole transgender thing decrease and lose momentum in so many places, it's still a major issue, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And again, what a striking example of what happens when a society loses their bearings, their moral bearings, their objective truth. This pool tournament over in England, Jody, again, you have two biological males competing in the championship. Why are they even allowed to be in the women's final, the women's tournament to begin with? Is because they identify as women. And so, again, it's absolutely insane. Jody, this is really important, though. Although I do think there's kind of been a vibe shift, so to speak. President Trump's been leading on this issue. Just before we came on the air, actually, the Danbury Institute contacted me. They're an allied organization. They put out a letter on some really pernicious legislation in Colorado. It's HB 251312. This is legislation. It's been approved by one house in Colorado, Jody, that if it were to go into law, it would allow courts to look at custody disputes and look at children and actually potentially remove children from their parents' home if the parents don't affirm the gender identity of their children. There's clauses in this legislation that say that if you dead name your child, meaning simply if you use the name that you gave them, or if you misgender them, again, that's just code, leftist code, for if you use pronouns that conflict with their biological sex, that you could lose custody. And so I do think there's a vibe change that's taking place, Jody. However, we need to be vigilant because the folks who believe this ideology, they're not going to go quietly in the night.
Absolutely, they're not. We've only got about 30 seconds. Your book is awesome. Tell us real quickly how people can get your book.
Yeah, very kind. Yeah, Life After Roe, Equipping Christians in the Fight for Life Today. You can go really wherever books are sold. You can go to lifeway.com. That's my publisher. And we still have a week or so where you can use Washington Watch. Use that code, one word, Washington Watch, and viewers and listeners of this program can receive 40% off. Looks at the issue of life from a theological, biblical, and political perspective.
David, listen, I want to thank you as always. I look forward to our time together, try to hit some of the major news items from a biblical worldview perspective. As always, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you have a great weekend, and may God bless your book. It needs to get in the hands of people.